already ruined Cuckoo you and nobody is not watching out there. Probably make this one short because I'm still continuing on, but it's just like sand gets everywhere and it's not a fan of flannel. Flannel and sand do not mix well, just say.
What is the dumbest thing you ever did?
Sand and flannel.
We heard they were going to cut down a huge area of forest, so about 20 of us went out there the night before to protest. We chained ourselves to trees so they'd have to delay their logging until they could get rid of us. Only we were in the wrong place. They were logging about a half a mile away, so
no one
knew we were there.
And then you guys were just
a week. By the time someone found us, we were out of food and water, and we thought we were gonna die.
Yeah.
The guy who found us went to ask the loggers for help, and they had to cut down the trees we were chained to in order to free us. All we accomplished was getting an extra 20 trees cut down and almost dying in the process.
That is really dumb and sad. Thank you for sharing. Guys, that's definitely lame. I don't know how it's easier to cut down a tree than it is to break a chain. Or, I mean, did you guys swallow the keys? Did you, well, what, I don't know how that works. What's the protocol there? I would assume you guys would have the keys and just not surrender them to whoever would, the loggers that would want to remove you from the tree. Isn't that how that works? I don't know.
What would you do with the money?
I just feel like
I would hire a private
it's still,
investigator to help me
how
find
big are these
Dr.
chains?
Murray.
And you could
We
get,
got separated on a fishing
they
trip
can be
quite a few years ago now, and
they can be
spent all
stopped,
my
they can be
time and my
broken.
resources finding her, going from city to city, but she's always moved on. So yeah, a private investigator could be life-changing for me.
You don't need $1 million for a fucking PI, motherfucker. Like, I get that if you're real at all, you don't have money. I get it. Like, I don't think your story is real at all. You have no scars. Again, it's the same thing as the girl who's like, I live in a van down by the Pacific Ocean. And it's like, but you're so, like, there's a certain effect of environment upon the individual organism, and less so there than your case. Do I believe that you went to jail for 5 years for piracy? Do I believe that you lived on a floating trash heap and all the things that I quote unquote know about you? No. That you gave birth in an elevator in hospital fighting a fucking raccoon because you're like, oh, it bit me, and I was, I gotta make sure, I gotta get this thing tested for rabies. I'm gonna hold it till it's end. Like, that's insane. That you survived somehow sleeping in a dumpster after saying that you're like, oh, well, the problem is I fell asleep in a dumpster. It's like, but you went there to sleep, and then you got dumpstered into the trash truck, that. And then they compacted you, and then you sort of Mr. Fantastic your way out of it. Yeah, no,
What is your most embarrassing?
You're just a liar.
Oh,
There it is. I think this is it. I think this is the one.
Things in my life that are embarrassing, but those people on trains that go around checking everyone's tickets.
No. You're talking about the
tickets.
the ticket thing.
It was my high school reunion, and I pretended that I was one of those people, that was my job, so that everyone would think I was really successful. But then it turned out in the group there was somebody who was a real ticket checker, and they told everyone that I wasn't. They didn't, I didn't have that job. They knew I didn't, they never saw me.
It's such a weird choice of things to be really successful. I don't know how much such a person or career makes. Doesn't seem like it would be all that much. Hopefully it's a livable wage. I feel like if you do that sort of thing, it's because you just really like trains, man. Like, people love trains. Oh, one thing I remember now, the shoes thing. There's a thing, people who really like shoes, sneakerheads. I didn't want to say that because I thought it sounded derogatory. But that's what they're called, apparently. Sneakerheads. Just, that's somebody who's a shoe fanatic. And the only shoe that I would be like, I would want is like a Neon Genesis Evangelion shoe. Like, that would be like one of those. And it's like anywhere between $80 and basically $300. Probably more now because they were limited edition and there's different versions. And I just particularly like anime and Neon Genesis Evangelion. But that's an example of shoes that have been made. And that's a thing. There's different versions of those shoes. And that they cost like $300. And that's the thing. It's like, it's insane to me. And people just keep them like works of art, which, cool. I get it. Because you walk around for 5 minutes, you're going to get them scuffed or mud on them or something. $300 is a lot for some footwear, in my opinion, but I'm not a shoe person. Not a sneaker. Tell me your unpopular
What is your
opinion.
most controversial or unpopular opinion?
Everybody
Most people
that's
think
not
I need
redhead.
milk to eat cereal.
That's so dumb.
I completely disagree. It's so extortionate.
I've actually
The prices of
done
milk
that, and it makes
nowadays.
me sad. I didn't
No
say it the
way.
first run
I just
through.
use water.
I've done it just to be
delicious.
like
I love my cereal with water when
desperation,
I can find cereal.
and just because I've heard that it was a thing, and I'm like, nah, I'll just eat it dry, fam. Like, don't do that. It depends on the thing, but like, it doesn't make any sense to use. It doesn't add any nutritional value. You could just drink water and eat it dry, like, alternate. You know, you just do, what was it from Get Out? There's that moment where they show how much somebody is a psychopath because they're just eating cereal and drinking milk. And it's just like, just made to be unsettling. And it's like, motherfucker, I've done that. Like, with milk and cereal. It's like, sometimes you get to control the thing. You know, depending on the type of cereal, you don't want it to just, maybe you don't want a whole bowl. Maybe it's like you're eating popcorn. You're taking your time. You're not, you know, you don't want to just, you have to be committed to a bowl. It's a commitment. A bowl of cereal is a commitment, and not necessarily to be taken lightly. I'm dumb. I'm an idiot. But it's funny. To me anyway. Because it'll get soggy. You know? You gotta, like, get to it. You gotta, like, do it. Depending on the type of cereal. Some cereals are more prone and better when soggy. Some not at all. You wanna... There's a whole art form to the life of cereal and the types of cereal and how much soggy you want, and a debate on, do you put the milk in first and then the cereal? It's like, that's blasphemy in most people's minds, and that is fair, and I generally agree with that depending on the cereal. Because sometimes you just want to chunk it on top and let it sort of sink in, because it's a time thing. You want to get that cereal. It's an art form. Like, you gotta sit there. You gotta get to the. You don't. Some cereals you don't want to get soggy because it gets real unpleasant. So you would want to not coat the entire thing, you know, put it in the bowl and then I mean, probably still gonna do that. I'm lazy, but a better thought out scientific principle is to, for specific goes soggy fast cereals, to you know, put the milk in first and then chuck it on top in a controlled dose so that you can dig to the bottom of that floating cereal, like Atlantic trash vortex she lived on, allegedly, and then you get the bottommost and you just kind of go through that. That way you can, you know, it doesn't get soggy faster or evenly. You have some control over it.
What's your biggest regret?
Why am I doing this?
Well, that's easy. That would be the fishing trip I took my
That
daughter
fucking
Molly on
fishing trip.
10 years ago. Well, obviously I couldn't afford a boat. So we borrowed 2 floating pool chairs and off we went out into the ocean.
I forgot about that.
Day. Unfortunately, I got caught in an undercurrent.
Oh wait, no, I don't know if
I was swept off to a desert island. I saw she made it back to shore.
I
Took me so long to get off the desert
don't
island
think
that
I
by the time
actually.
got home, she'd moved on, and I've not been able to find her
How
since.
old was? I think I did. I just was like, what? I was just like floored by the concept. It's like, A, where the frick were you going fishing? You borrowed these pool chairs and you ended up Tom Hanks' Castaway. You fucking are just like, well, like, only it was your child. I've abandoned my boy. I've abandoned my child. Just No Country for Old Men. Or no. I think it's There Will Be Blood. I think it's actually There Will Be Blood. Pretty sure that's the mix those two up. I'm pretty sure it was There Will Be Blood. You just lost. I mean, you know, the current's a thing, but you ended up on a whole, like. Sure, I guess that's possible, right? But
What is the dumbest thing you ever did?
she just grew up without you.
Well, that was sleeping in a dumpster. I mean,
Yep,
seems
this
like
is
a
the
good
one.
idea, right? You know, there's
Not
a lid on them, keeps you dry when it's wet.
particularly now.
Unfortunately, I fell asleep and the garbage truck came by.
That
and
you
I woke up
said
to find myself being
unfortunately you
tumbled
fell
into the garbage
asleep.
truck and
You
being compacted in beside
planned to
everything
sleep.
else. It took me 3 days to free myself from the block I was in.
You would be dead. That's not like. It's not survivable by a normal human being. If you have special abilities like Mr. Fantastic or Wolverine or something, then if you were Wolverine or Deadpool or some shit like that, like maybe you would require some time to get out of the block, you know. But ultimately, that's just gonna kill you. You're just gonna die.
What would you do with
I
the
say
money?
you, he dead.
I'd start my own cult,
As you do.
dedicated to summoning Cthulhu and bringing about the end of days.
I mean, the Sleeper of Relay, you know, the Great Dreamer, is it the Keeper? I still don't remember. The Messenger, the Harbinger, the Speaker for the Great Old Ones, like, you know, you gotta recognize all that Eldritch horror shit. You gotta, like, not really the best. I don't think you need that much money to do that, but pretty sure there's already like one. There's definitely at least one. People are weird. You know, you could be a like literally and legally be three. You could be like a priest or whatever significant, relevant, equivalent religious figure of like three. Off the top of my head, I can think of three that are just like that's funny, and they don't necessarily have bad religions, but they are actually kind of recognized, have like official churches, at least in America, and you can like, you could be a Pastafarian, which is the Church of the Flying Spaghetti Monster, which, you know, just like, it's pretty cool. Have a good time, drink your beer, and like, very much like be righteous to each other. That's not the way it put it. It's like, just don't be a douche. I forget the actual tenets. There are less commandments and more encouragement and suggestions. And the only thing is, don't be terrible as a person, because it will upset. It's like, you know, the Flying Spaghetti Monster will just be disappointed in you, and it will he will be stern or something. I'll have to look it up. I forget. Then there's the Church of, or the Tao of the Dude, which is from the Big Lebowski, and Dudism, which, you know, like, I think that's another way to put it, which is actually a pretty solid philosophy. I don't think it's actually considered a religion. I don't know if you can be ordained in that one. You can be ordained in Pastafarianism, and also Jedi. You know, the Church of the Jedi or the Force. You can actually do that. Those are things. And there's a lot of stuff you can just get ordained in real fast and easy without, like, you just pay a fee. I do support the Pastafarianism that they don't require a fee to be ordained. I think that they offer it, but I think it's like, it's not like, oh, you have to pay this. I think it's more like, well, we'll get, like, everybody knows this is like a joke. If you want to wear a pasta strainer on your head for a license photo or something official like a passport, have fun fighting whatever your local government is, because that's how that plays out. Some states are kind of okay with it, but generally it's frowned upon. But I think it's a pretty solid concept, even much as I am not a person that like, I got my own beliefs and they aren't that, but I like to consider, respect, and also absorb, take the good things from other beliefs. And I think it's really cool that somebody was like, I made this joke, it became a meme, and I took it so seriously, and it's a thing now. Because it has a really good point to make against, well, they were trying to make a thing against a particular aspect of separation of church and state, where, you know, it was basically like some city, some place, I forget the history of it, but they were trying to do something that even I'm like, dude, no, don't do that, that's not cool. You don't get to just force that upon somebody. And then somebody found a good little loophole and did this, and just leaned hard into it, and that is amazing. You gotta love that, you know, that dedication, that birds are not real, they are just spies for the government. It's just like, you gotta love that dedication. That's amazing. And it's a thing. It's, there's books and stuff. Also, the Church of Pastafarianism recognizes Cthulhu, if I recall correctly, in one of their books, their official books. It's like, oh, like the flying spaghetti monster hung out with Cthulhu at some point, I believe. Why do I know these things? Why am I like this? Let's just keep going.
What
Let's
is
try to get through this.
your most embarrassing memory?
Woo!
When I was 6 years old,
Yes.
my parents
You were 6.
forced me to attend the
and-
birthday
Nope,
party.
I cannot
of the girl who
make it
lived
go
next door.
faster. And
They fed me
they
copious
fed
amounts
you.
of candies, cakes,
They got you all
ice cream.
drugged up on the white man's poison.
I got caught up in such a sugar rush,
Sugar.
I actually participated in their
High fructose corn syrup.
games.
Oh, there was
The
games.
worst part was afterwards.
Traumatized
I
from
actually thought we were friends.
like having a good time. I know that's just like the point, but it's just like, dude,
What is
Wow,
your
okay.
most controversial or unpopular opinion?
probably that
I
recycle
believe
your pets.
that we should bring back public execution.
I don't think that
We're already executing people in 27 states.
is that true.
Why not sell tickets? I know some people
You're not wrong.
penalty, but they should love this idea.
It
Executing these prisoners in
it
private
generates
only helps
capital.
the masses not to think about it,
And there are people that
Making
want
it
to see
public.
that happen,
but bring attention to it.
and it would make less. It would
I guess the rest of us
ideally
something to do.
prevent. It'd be a deterrent, I think, because it's like. I mean, maybe not. Maybe we would just glorify it as we. That's the whole problem now. Is glorifying serial killers and stuff right now. Like. That's a thing. Like I watched it. What was it? It was a documentary series, docu-series, and it was about a guy who killed like confirmably like 2 or 3 people, but possibly way more, and it's not clear. The whole point of the thing is you really don't know whether or not he did more than like 2 murders and just wanted to be famous and like manufactured this thing and jerked people around because he's smart enough to do that, or whether he did. It's just like he took like credit for like the woman of the beach or something, like, like that happened in not Rhode Island, not New Hampshire, Vermont. I don't know. It was somewhere up there, and it's like a big famous thing, and he basically just went with it. And I think the documentary was The Devil and Jesus, or the serial killer and the Christ, or something along those lines, something like that. And it was really good. It was a really interesting show, but it basically sort of makes it like we don't know. No one knows. That's the whole point. It's like maybe he killed like over 100 people. Maybe he killed 3. We don't know. The fact is, he sort of, if he didn't kill more than 3, or 100, he didn't kill like 100, which again, hopefully he didn't, but maybe he just wanted to be famous, and a lot of people do that, and that's sad. People will just want to be famous and known for something because they just aren't really happy with the world, which, same, big mood, I get it, but like, Don't do that. Don't do that. That's definitely not a good way to deal with that. Being infamous and evil and all that, that's not a good way to deal with your shit, dude. Like, come on. Like, you know, like, don't go that route just so people care that you existed. It's better to not be known than to be known by your full legal name as a terrible human being that's like, oh, well, no, I ate a nipple or some shit like that. Like, you'd have to see the thing. It's just, it makes me sad that people are like that. Just don't, like, yes, people like their true crime documentaries, and honestly, knowing about this stuff is good so you kind of protect yourself, but it does kind of glorify the circumstance, and as a result, these mofos out here just want to be Buffalo Bill, and not in the Jay and Silent Bob kind of funny way, where it's just like, would you fuck me? I'd fuck me. I'd fuck me hard. Like, it's like I forget the song, but you get it. Like, I like some dark shit, and I like all that, but nah, fam. Like, I don't want us to glorify these acts, and I don't want more people to copycat or simulate or duplicate or whatever as a result, which is really stressful for me in this thought process that it's like, I love the series Dexter. That would be a better thing for people to duplicate, but even that still glorifies serial killers and brings a lot of attention to them, and it just seems like a lot of motivation for some people who are very mentally unhealthy, are, you know, Zodiac and whatnot. It's just people are just, they just want to be seen and heard, and they'll do terrible things to do it because it's an ugly, mad world. It's a sick, sad world, and they'll do that. And this because I don't know how long it's going, and I don't know if I'm gonna keep any of these because this is all just sick, sad commentary, right? At this point, I was just trying to speed run this, and I'm like, let's just talk about whatever, man.